Hey guys, so first of all, yeah, this is my first video in a couple days. I've missed a couple of days. That's on me. I'm sorry. So I said in the last video that I was recovering from something and I kept it kind of vague. What I'm gonna not be vague now. I recently received my second dose of the Pfizer vaccine, and I am coming out of it now, but as you're probably aware, when you get the Pfizer vaccine the second time, there are side effects, particularly in younger people, of like fevers and body aches and stuff like that. And I had it worse than in the average example, and I appear to be coming out of it now. But the past couple of days were just really, really hard, and so that's why I couldn't make the videos. But I'm at it again now, and I'm gonna try at some point in the next few days to make up for lost time and do like 2 videos in one day. And I may end up doing the final video, Best Picture, on Oscar Day itself before the nominations. But anyway, with all that out of the way, let's talk about the Oscars, and specifically, let's talk about Best Original Screenplay. This is an interesting category because I wouldn't expect to do this one so early, but there are, in my opinion, there are a lot of open-ended categories this year. A lot of categories where there's reasonable doubt, and this one, I am fairly confident that I know what the winner is, even if some people might not say it's the obvious winner. And I am totally ready to predict it. So, and just to let you know, I am going to show pictures that are like screen grabs of the scripts. If you go on simplyscripts.com, you will find there's screenplays of a lot of movies from this year, and all 10, I think so. I don't know if the White Tiger is available. I hope it. I just realized I didn't know. That'll become a problem when I look for adapted screenplay, but certainly all 5 of the original screenplay contenders are there, and a couple of others. Movies like Palm Springs, Never Really, Sometimes Always, and Soul, and I believe Mank. Yeah, Mank is there too. So movies that just missed this category, you can read there. Um, so, you know what? I'm just rambling at this point. Let's just stop wasting time and get right into it. But if you go on simplyscripts.com, you can find at least all 5 of the nominated scripts in Best Original Screenplay, as well as a couple of others, quite a few. So, with that out of the way, 5th most likely to win is Sound of Metal. Now, so all 5 of the movies that are nominated in this category are also nominated for Best Picture. And I think that these are all very worthy screenplays, and they're all worthy of their nominations. It feels weird to say that because like there's still a lot of great screenplays that missed, but I think there's certainly not a bad screenplay in this lineup. I can tell you that. And in the case of Sound of Metal, it's a very good story. I really like how it doesn't play like a typical disability movie would play. Like, it's not about him learning to drum again, or it's not about him being a total jerk to everyone in the deaf camp the whole time. Like, the movie really plays it subtle and plays it natural, I feel. Which could be also considered a downside, because it's not very flashy dialogue. It's dialogue that sounds like a conversation out of real life. And I honestly, maybe it's not just the dialogue, maybe it's the actor's performance. I think that so much of the success of this movie is down to the incredible performances by the actors. And so it's a great film, and the fact that it got this nomination shows that people really, really love it. And that could help it out in other categories, but for some reason, I just don't see this winning. I don't think it won anything major in the precursors, and plus it's just not a very dialogue heavy movie. It's a movie where the main character is deaf and is hearing is hearing nothing, and it's all about the sound design. And a lot of the dialogue is conveyed through sign language, and so that takes a lot of effort to do. It's not the flashiest script out there, especially of these nominees of this list. And so while it's very well done, it just doesn't feel like the kind of screenplay that wins. And so that's why I have it at number 5. Fourth most likely to win is Judas and the Black Messiah. So this film I put a little bit higher, just slightly over Sound of Metal, because the film does have a lot of support, as evidenced by not only the nominations in cinematography and song, but the shocker to end all shockers, Lakeith Stanfield nomination, which proves, if nothing else, that people really saw and loved this movie. So I think that this film is a real contender. The script itself is well written, but I don't know. It doesn't stand out. It stands out a little bit more. It's not the most naturalistic, but it's also not the most. I can't think of the right word. It's not the most stylized. It doesn't call attention to itself, but it doesn't sink so far into that. It's a very it's on the middle of that spectrum, while still being a very good script and getting a lot of good stuff done. For me, when I saw the film, though, the most impactful parts of the entire movie were the title cards at the end that showed the actual history. So I don't know if that's a failing on the movie's part or not, but it's a very good film and it's a very good screenplay. I just don't I don't see this winning because I don't think it's the type of film that wins. Maybe if it had won any of the major precursors, it would have a better chance. But precursors are kind of a lot when it comes to these categories, and I just don't. I think they're campaigning other places. I think the nomination shows a sign of support for the film that has signs of support everywhere else, but I just don't think it's winning this category. That's why I have it at number 4. Third most likely to win is Minari. So this is another film that the way it's presented does feel very naturalistic. The dialogue isn't super snappy. It feels real and it feels grounded, and that takes work to do, but it's not as appreciated as the more snappy dialogue, which we'll get to with our top 2 contenders. The film is beloved, certainly. It's a crowd pleaser. It's certainly a top half contender for Best Picture. Everybody really likes this movie, and in order for it to have a serious chance at winning Best Picture, which it could have, it would need to take this, and it would be kind of a shocking. It would be a shocking upset if it took this. Because first of all, it's a foreign language film, and those so rarely win this category. Parasite won, but it was kind of the exception. And also, Parasite had very it had snappy dialogue, it had clever, intricate writing. This film is not like that. It's a very it's a domestic drama, where we're just sort of following this family and their lives, and things don't get really intense until the last section of the film. And so, while it's a very good screenplay and it's very well written, it's not very showy writing. It doesn't really call attention to itself. It just sort of is very simple and just lets you appreciate it rather than demanding to be adored. And again, that takes talent. I'm not knocking the screenplay at all, but if it had won any precursors, maybe I would be looking at this differently. Actually, I know I would be. But I just can't vote for this over the top 2, although I think there is an outside possibility that this could win and shock everybody. But for that to happen, Minari would have to win Best Picture. second most likely to win is The Trial of the Chicago 7. So this script is written by the man, the myth, the legend, Aaron Sorkin, and the reason I brought that up, and I haven't brought that up for any of the other screenplays, is because Sorkin is such a big deal, and he's famous for his dialogue. Not that many writers are famous the way Aaron Sorkin is, unless they also direct. And Sorkin does direct. I just realized that as I was saying it. He does direct, but direction is not what he's known for. He's known first and foremost for being a writer, as evidenced by the fact that he wasn't even nominated for director for this film, even though it's supposed to be a big deal. And it's the writing in this film, it's definitely a very good script, I will say. It's not Sorkin's best. I don't think anyone would say that this is Sorkin's best, but the man has set a very high bar for himself. And so it does have the snappy dialogue and the witty back and forths and all this, everything that I was telling you about earlier, and the hard-hitting one-liners. Like, this is good stuff. And it did win the Golden Globe, which is why it's number 2. That's an important precursor that it won, because at the Golden Globe, they just have one category for Best Screenplay. It's not separated into original adapted. This won the Golden Globe. But then again, the Golden Globes gave it to Steve Jobs. They gave Best Screenplay to Steve Jobs, which ended up not being nominated for the Oscar, because they just really, really like Aaron Sorkin. And so we kind of knew going into the Globe ceremony that this was going to win, and it probably wasn't going to affect the overall race too much. We were going to look at the other races to original screenplay. And even though Trial of Chicago 7 is at number 2, and I think there's a very strong possibility that it could win, I am still leaning towards number 1 most likely to win, and that is Promising Young Woman. So this screenplay, this is what won the Critics' Choice Award and also the WGA. As I'm recording this, BAFTAs are tomorrow. You might know this by the time BAFTA goes out, but I'm expecting it to take BAFTA too, because it's a script that I understand that not everyone is super high on the movie, but I think the script kind of demands attention. And this is one of those movies that is not subtle at all about what it wants to say, except what it wants to say is very important, and by God, you are going to listen. I think the way that the film is structured and the way that it addresses this very, like, taboo topic, this subject matter that people don't want to talk about, and sort of makes you think about it in a way you possibly hadn't thought to think about it before, if that makes any sense. It's a movie that, whether people love it or not, it's getting people talking. It is starting a conversation. A lot of people have said that, like, people have compared it to the film Get Out. Like, what Get Out did for racial prejudice in the post-Trump America is what Promising Young Woman does for rape culture. And it is a pretty incredible achievement, especially for Emerald Fennell, who was known as an actress and had worked on TV, but this is her first film. I don't know what her writing credits are. I don't think this is her first screenplay, but it's an incredible achievement. And yes, she doesn't have the experience that someone like Aaron Sorkin has, but Aaron Sorkin already has an Oscar, and he got it for Social Network, which we can all agree was deserving. This makes sense as a win, because this is the movie that everybody's talking about. And now, if Trial of Chicago 7 wins this, maybe they just want to give that Best Picture, or maybe they want to give it a consolation prize because they can't give it Best Picture. It could still happen, but again, this has this has WGA, and this has Critics' Choice. and those to me are very important wins. We'll see what happens at BAFTA tomorrow, but even if BAFTA goes for something else, I still feel confident in this pick. Promising Young Woman is my official prediction. So, this is normally the part of the video where I'd say tune in tomorrow, but I don't know how I don't know how my schedule is gonna work because I might churn out a couple videos at a time. We'll see what happens, but in any case, tune in next time where I'll be taking a look at the category of Best Animated Short. See you then.